All right. Hey, we'll get started since it is the top of the hour. You are attending Meet Fortra, your cybersecurity ally, and I really want to thank you for taking a little time out of your day. We're excited about the changes going on in our organization. So we'll walk through. We've got a handful of slides to share with you and some observations about what's going on in the industry, and a little bit of discussion about how we've responded to some of these industry trends, which we're certain you'll find interesting. So we'll introduce ourselves. I'm the guy on the left, and the way I see my screen is like they're diagonal. I'm the guy over there, and John's the guy up there. So my name is Mike Devine. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Fortra. I've been here about 7 years.
And I am John Grantzich. I'm the EVP of Strategy here at Fortra, and I've been with the company for a little over 4 years.
Great. So, we've had a number of people say, hey, why the name change? HelpSystems, we've known you guys forever. Why the name change? So I'll give you a little background on our thought process. So HelpSystems, as many know, has been around for a long, long time. In fact, we had our roots in the IBMI in 1982, so 40 years ago. And over the last 4 to 5 years, we've made a significant shift into more cybersecurity solutions, bringing them to market, more automation solutions. And really that shift came by customer demand. Customers said, we love how you help us here. We love how you help us there. What about these other things? And so, we are excited that we were able to deliver that to customers. So we've put together a really impressive portfolio of solutions and services we're very proud of, and customers validate all the time that they work really well. So we've grown to about 3,000 people in the company, and 30,000 customers worldwide rely on our solutions every day. And so John and I and a handful of others were sitting around having a cup of coffee about a year ago. I remember it was a little around Thanksgiving time, John, and we felt that like this isn't, one of these moments of who am I, kind of a Jean Valjean type of moment. And who are we? Are we the company we were a handful of years ago? We said, not really. And so, as we've evolved into, frankly, a powerhouse in the cybersecurity market, we wanted a name and an identity that better matched that. So we're excited to bring the company together under this Fortra name. And the next slide talks about, it's our logo, and I could geek out as the marketing guy. I could geek out and bore you for 15 straight minutes about why everything here is so perfect, but I won't. But I'll give you just a little overview. We love the name. If you think of Fortra, it definitely gives a nod to Forte, which is strength. It gives a nod to Fort and Fortress, which are protection. We love the all caps. It's very strong, yet these softer blue and green colors. And the A as a triangle is very deliberate. Triangle is a very powerful shape. It also is the Greek delta symbol, which signifies positive change. And we thought that was just a brilliant way to show, to symbolize the positive change that we bring to cybersecurity. And this delta can also be our 3 pillars, if you will. Each side of the delta or the triangle represents who we are. So we did a lot of introspective, like who are we? We talked to a lot of customers. We talked to a lot of employees. What really makes us click? And ultimately, we're problem solvers, and we have brought together amazing software, and behind the software are teams of really smart experts who they wake up and they love to solve problems. That's kind of what they do. And not just basic problems, but those kind of gnarly things that some others shy away from. Our crew really likes to do that. So we said, fundamentally, we are problem solvers. We also are what we're calling proactive protectors. And by that, we mean we've assembled great software and services to really protect our customers. And then lastly, on the bottom, we're relentless ally. And again, as we talk to customers about, why do you like HelpSystems? Why do you rely on HelpSystems? Customers said again and again, when the going gets tough, here's a cliche, HelpSystems stands up. But again, like I talked about earlier, there are those situations where customers are having a hard time with maybe other vendors have not been able to solve that compliance issue, or why that file gets modified here, or why this phishing attempt keeps happening. Those are the problems that HelpSystems has really stood up and stood with customers. So those are the three areas, and we're really excited about it. Now, in this change, as I talked about, we had our start 40 years ago with automation on the IBM I. Best solution on the market. That's still a tremendous business for us, and a business that is growing beautifully. So we do great automation on the I, we do cybersecurity on the I, BI, business intelligence on the I. We have all sorts of workload automation solutions and RPA solutions, robotic process automation, and Intermap, which is a network mapping solution. All these products that we wouldn't call necessarily cybersecurity, they're great. They're very strong. We will continue to innovate on them. We will continue to support. We will continue to sell those. And I just want to pause and reiterate that because I would hate for someone to say, hey, what about my Intermap license? Or what about my Automate? Yeah, that stays on. And John, I'll steal one of John's lines. He keeps telling me, we're pulling that stuff forward. We're not leaving anything behind, and really using a lot of that expertise and capabilities to move into the future. And our next slide, represents something we're really proud of, and we hear from customers every day that they like it, and that's really our portfolio. It's a smart collection of tried and true software that protects organizations and services that lends a helping hand. We talked about that relentless ally. That's really important here. And then on the bottom, you see that common platform. And we're striving toward having a common platform for organizations. We can do this on whatever operating system or platform you want. If you're on the I, or Linux, or Unix, or AIX, or Windows, Mac, we're there for you. And then deployment models too. We hear time and time again, hey, I'm a little bit cloud, I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll. I'm a little bit cloud, I'm a little bit on premise. So we really are building for hybrid IT. And as we talk to customers and share this, they say that really fits with our plans. So I'll hand it over to John to share a little more.
Awesome. So Mike mentioned change, and there's obviously been a massive amount of change at what was HelpSystems, what is now Fortra, and huge progress. And so one of the things we wanted to talk about today too was how we're thinking about the future, where we're going and why, and really how do we even think about strategy and how do we come up with it. And what I really want to highlight here is that strategy for us really begins with a market problem, or in the case of cybersecurity, really a set of market problems. We know there's no shortage of problems to solve in cybersecurity today, and so it's really a question of where do we focus as Fortra going forward. And where I want to start is on the left with what we're seeing in terms of the increased vulnerabilities and attacks that are out there. Now, this number, 20,000 new vulnerabilities published in 2021, just to make that, kind of make that real, that's a new vulnerability discovered and published pretty much every 30 minutes around the clock for an entire year, nonstop. And ransomware is now impacting about 90% of all organizations. So these are just incredible numbers, and they really speak to how dynamic and fluid the threat landscape has become over time. Then there's also the rising costs. Now, the industry's response to this landscape and all the threats and how things have been evolving has been to spend more and more money over time. And we're projecting that spending on cybersecurity will go up by about another $100 billion in just the next few years. I mean, so these are just incredible numbers when you look at them together. And while those first two numbers are on the rise, what's definitely not on the rise are the number of available skilled cybersecurity workers that are out there. Today, we estimate there's about 3 million open cybersecurity jobs around the world. And I was just looking at some stats earlier in the week for North America, and I think the number in North America is 700,000 alone. So these are just incredible numbers that are out there. And we want to share a different perspective on this, which is that those 3 million jobs, they're actually never all going to get filled. And the reason we say that is think about how hard it is to hire just one qualified IT person or one qualified developer. And you know what I'm talking about. Yet somehow we think we're going to hire 3 million skilled cybersecurity workers. I think that's not the right way to look at it. We have to fundamentally rethink how we build the system of the future for cybersecurity and really find new ways of working and solving these challenges. Now, highlighted a few challenges here. Now, how exactly has the industry responded to the problems that you see here? Well, by creating more and more vendors and more solutions. In fact, lots and lots more, thousands more, right? Today, we estimate that there's probably about 4,500 providers of cybersecurity solutions. So that could be products, services, what have you, out in the market. And the net result of that is it leads to security teams being overwhelmed. Now, think of it, right? How's a security team that's already overloaded with the day-to-day issues, right? We already talked about the fact that they're under-resourced. You've got day-to-day issues, you've got emergencies. They're somehow supposed to be able to effectively manage 50 or maybe 100 plus products like you see here. It just doesn't really make sense. It's not feasible. And the curious thing about this is the problem is actually a lot worse than what you see here. So myself and Mike and others, we're always talking with CISOs and security teams and sharing things that we're learning and seeing. And I shared this in a meeting with a CISO at one of the world's largest conglomerates not that long ago. And I put the slide up in the room that we were in, and I kind of talked through it. And at first, the gentleman didn't say anything. He just kind of stared at it. And I could see that he was, thinking about something. I wasn't quite sure what it was. And then he finally said, John, you need to know that the problem you're talking about is actually a lot worse than this, because all you need are 10 to 15 products from different providers, and you're going to have a nightmare on your hands. And that really brought into relief for me, how we had to begin to think about things. Next slide. And this has really led us at Fortra to come to an important strategic insight as we proceed forward as a company, which is that the core problem that we need to solve for in cybersecurity is actually not the next attack, it's complexity. Complexity, when you really think about it, is the enemy of everything that today's organizations are looking to achieve in security. Think about it. Wastes huge amounts of money, time, and effort. It allows vulnerabilities and threats to slip through those cracks. It increases the time to detection and remediation, which of course increases the risk and the subsequent impact of attacks. And of course, it directly impacts the people on the teams, right? We already said there's not enough cybersecurity professionals out there. They're stressed. They've got way too many things happening all the time, right? So it's getting in the way of their organization's goals, but also of their personal goals to feel like they're making a difference. So our view is that we can change this for the better. And so what we really want to focus on now is how we're going to do that. So lots of noise in cybersecurity, right? We see it every day. It's in our inboxes every morning when we log in. Lots of noise to sift through, which we're always trying to find the signal within the noise. And what we want to share with you today is that this, in the kind of midst of all this noise that you're seeing out there, what we know is that the majority of attacks that occur utilize just the 4 primary paths that you see here. Together, these paths account for about 75% of all the attacks that occur today. And so we ask ourselves, what could we help our customers and our partners accomplish by improving their security maturity in just these areas? It seems like a simple question, right? But there's a major problem. The problem is that 2 of these paths relate to data-centric security. The other 2 relate to infrastructure-centric security. Additionally, they all need some form of security awareness training for the people that work in the organization. And at other times, right, again, with the skills shortage, they're going to require additional security operations support in the form of managed services. The problem is that most providers focus in just one of these areas, and they leave the others exposed or insufficiently trained or under-resourced. And the analogy I like to use to kind of make it more personal and real is, think about when you go home after a day at work or from being out, and it's like locking just one door in your house and hoping that the bad guy, the burglar, what have you, doesn't find the other 3 open ones that you didn't lock. You would never do that with your personal residence, but somehow we do it in cybersecurity every day because these are the choices that we've been given up to this point. Fortra's view is that no organization is safe without a plan to handle them all, and handling them all is what we're going to be focused on going forward.
So that really leads us to our mission. And, we spent a lot of time on this. We're very deliberate with our words. We want to create a stronger and a simpler future for cybersecurity by enabling organizations to increase their security maturity while decreasing operational burden. And they can be simultaneous. As John and I have talked about this a lot. And he's like, you don't need to wait for one and then have the other. You can do them at the same time. But we believe there's a better future for cybersecurity. And when we talk to customers about that, this is definitely validated. So as John talked about those, here are all the attacks. You can't just lock one door and leave the other 3 open. That's why, we are really positive about this is on the right, you can secure your data. On the left, you can secure your infrastructure. But what about all those employees who inadvertently click on something they shouldn't? Okay, now you've locked those two doors, but someone got in that other door. So let's make sure you've provided security awareness to the extent you can, and your employees are behaving better. And then there's so much to do. There's so much to monitor. As John talked about, those 3,000 jobs are not coming back. Leading organizations are recognizing that and acknowledging it and saying, okay, who can I lean on? Who can be that ally for me? And so, we're excited about securing the data and the infrastructure, providing that awareness training, and then providing that operational support too. That is a really good model.
All right, so two big goals simultaneously, right? Improving security maturity, decreasing operational burden. What does that really mean? How are we going to deliver on that? What's the focus for us? So obviously in a half an hour, update, we can't get into all the details of everything we're doing, but we did want to highlight three important strategic initiatives that are focused on this: value-added bundles, leveraging automation and intelligence, and unifying on a common platform. Where I want to start is with value-added bundles. So what we're highlighting here is our 6 bundles that Fortra has launched in the past year or so. And while they're all focused on different use cases, what I want to highlight is that they all started from a common place, which were customer problems and use cases. So for us, when we think about integration and interoperability and things like that, it is all in service of solving some set of customer problems. And ideally, it's a problem that many customers have, and that really gets us excited to make that kind of positive impact in the world. That's how they all start. They reduce operational overhead because it's enabling our customers to unlock advanced use cases through a single provider with these bundles. The bundles are typically integrated solutions because they do help us serve those use cases. So that's where we're helping to reduce some of that operational burden, broader set of use cases with fewer providers. But I also want to talk a little bit about the maturity part of things. So for example, if you look at customer phishing protection, so that bundle there, it combines Agari and Phish Labs to stop domain spoofing, detect phishing campaigns, and mitigate the infrastructure that threat actors rely on. It's that last part that's really interesting for us from a maturity perspective, because we and frankly other companies have been really good at doing phishing takedowns, but we've never really been able to get to the source infrastructure that the bad actor relies on, right? So that bad person is sitting behind the keyboard or the console, and they're spinning up all these phishing sites. We've never been able to take them down until now. So with this bundle, and this is a great example of us helping an organization improve security maturity, is we'll take down the phishing sites and the infrastructure that person relies on and really knock them offline. It's a big leap forward in terms of helping an organization with their security maturity. The second strategic initiative I want to highlight is around leveraging automation and intelligence. Now, Mike highlighted earlier, and when he and I have had this conversation, a lot, just thinking about how all the pieces of the company fit together. And it's interesting because I think sometimes it's only looking backwards that things make sense. We try as best we can to kind of have the crystal ball for the future and figure out where things are going to go, but sometimes we don't know. But what we are finding is that everything kind of comes to use, in its own time. And so what was HelpSystems and is now Fortra has this incredible base of experience and solutions and expertise in automation. And I cannot think of a space and technology that is more in need of automation today than cybersecurity. With the complexity, the skill shortage, everything that you're seeing, we don't think an organization can actually become security mature without automation. It's going to be part of the tool set going forward. We're pulling it all forward, as Mike said, and we're doing it in our own SOC. And I want to highlight that we're actually doing this internally first. So within our own security operations center, we have brought in our own automation expertise and solutions and are automating a portion of what our own SOC team is doing. It's been absolutely transformational. It's really been kind of revelatory for them because they see now that they can free themselves up to focus on higher order, more complex things like security architecture and security strategy. So truly transformational stuff. But what about intelligence? So I want to highlight this as well. And you can see kind of around the circle here some of the key stats from across our product lines of the things we can do today. But really what I want to highlight is that what we are building is a centralized system for threat intelligence information. We're going to use a combination of human-based and machine learning-based techniques to solve some really pressing threat problems, and also invest in industry collaborations to share and exchange threat intelligence. So we are part of the ecosystem, right? We want to be part of that and make sure that we are helping all the customers and the partners get the very best, most actionable, most up-to-date threat intelligence that's out there. And as you kind of look around here, you can see that right now, today, we're really a comprehensive solution solving some really advanced technology and people-centric security problems for those over 30,000 customers that Mike mentioned. We're really proud of where we've gotten to, kind of this milestone, right? We're really seen as a trusted advisor, serving some of the leading companies across multiple verticals today, including all top 10 companies in the Fortune 500. And our solutions, if you kind of scan your eyes across the page, we're detecting, preventing, and remediating security weaknesses and threats at a truly incredible pace. And that's across email security, phishing protection, brand impersonation, or vulnerability assessment and management. Again, we want to look at it all holistically together. I think the days of making those difficult, choices where one but not the other, and then your risks are opened up, we want that to be over. That's really our vision, and that's really what improving security maturity and decreasing operational burden is all about. Third initiative I want to highlight is probably our most ambitious, but it's also going to be our most transformational one, and we're already working on it, which is to build a cloud-native multi-tenant platform, which will take a modular approach to bringing our products and bundles together into a single user experience, a single environment. We'll incorporate workflows, centralized analytics and reporting, amongst a lot of other elements. You can kind of see as you kind of look at the core 7 elements that we've kind of put around the graphic here of what we're focused on. And we've been solving this a couple different ways. Now, for those of us who built platforms before, platforms are notoriously complex to pull off successfully. I've built 2 in my career. This will be my 3rd major one. But we've got some really great platform expertise and platform experts on our team from across the cybersecurity industry working on this. So how are we going to solve this? This is a big idea. Well, there's 2 ways. From a top-down perspective, we're always going to start with the customer problems first, right? That's kind of the glue for everything that Fortra does, figuring out what those market problems are, how we can solve them with our solutions. But we also have to meet that top-down perspective with a bottoms-up approach. And that means we have to focus on selecting our technologies, building the platform ourselves, and then building the solution set on top of the platform. Those of you who have been following our story for a while, you know that we've been very, very busy on the acquisition front, on the buy side of things. Maybe you're wondering, like, hey, where does the build part of this come in? This is where the build part comes in. Now, of course, we're building the individual products today, right? Of course, but what we're finding is that the combination of buy and build is an incredibly powerful strategy for Fortra, because we get to take advantage of buying great solutions that are on the market, pulling them into our portfolio. But where something doesn't exist, we've got the talent and the drive and the core skills to actually build it ourselves. And so we're building this platform ourselves. We've not seen anything like it in the industry, so we're taking that on ourselves. We're super excited by this work. When you look at the platform at a high level, think of it as a set of frameworks, tools, services, and components that are going to be shared across our products. So for example, we're going to be able to improve our R&D efficiency, writing a lot of core solutions once and then using them over and over again across the portfolio. But the primary benefit of the platform is that it's going to facilitate the integration and unification of our products. So we're going to be bringing together a set of capabilities into this new unified user experience aimed at reducing complexity for customers. So key takeaways for this: modular, cloud-native security platform that's going to leverage and incorporate automation and intelligence all throughout. We're also going to be unifying our agents. Hooray for those of you who are sick to death of more agents. Well, we're going to be unifying them. We figured out a great technical strategy to do that without having to rewrite agents. It's going to have to be a little secret of ours. We're going to keep under the hood, but we figured it out. Unifying our threat feeds, security events, reporting, analytics, lots of other behind-the-scenes functionality like single sign-on and third-party integrations. All of this aimed at resulting in an efficient and improved security experience for our customers, and that's you, the teams that we aim to serve every day.
Thanks, John. So that's it. I hope you see how excited we are about this, and I'll just close by saying a couple things. First of all, a rebrand is not just a new name and a new logo and colors, although we love the name and we love the logo, as I mentioned, and we love the colors. But what's happened here is it's kind of a response to a movement within the company that is based on customer demand, and we couldn't be more excited about our approach and how customers are adopting this. And if you have any questions at all, You can email John and me. It's just mike.devine@fortra.com or john.grancerich. This is a little harder to spell. In case you're writing it down, go ahead, jot that down, at fortra.com. So again, I want to thank you for taking time. I know everyone's busy. Thanks for taking time out of your Tuesday. Have a great rest of year, and let us know how we can help. Thank you.
Thank you.